in my last role, I was heading up our marketplace intelligence group, which was really a center of thought leadership and analysis of major trends in media and guidance for clients across the group for North America. So in my new role, I have a global perspective, and so one of the big things that I'm trying to do is drive towards a more sophisticated approach to global media. So as I think you know, media markets are becoming increasingly globalized. If we think about the big walled garden companies like Google and Meta, you can see that there's a global convergence of trends in media. When these companies develop products, new offerings, consumer-facing services, they tend to be deployed globally. And so the idea behind this role, part of the idea behind this role, is that it would make sense to have someone media-focused at OMD with a global lens.
So a lot's changed in the last year. What would you say are some of the changes you've seen in the NewFronts last year to this year, and what's stayed the same?
100%. So I guess I'll start with the changes. So the two big changes, if I had to pick two, number one, huge focus on AI. A big part of that is increased generative AI offerings by sellers to smooth the process of creative generation, to improve the level of personalization that consumers receive. Another big change this year is an increased focus on programmatic deal making it easier and easier for advertisers to set up custom deals to hit their use cases.
Okay. And how is it the same? What would you like to see change that hasn't changed?
Well, I think the same. What stayed the same is you see a lot of companies making very similar claims about, we have the most reach, the most effectiveness, the best measurement. And I think it can be really difficult for advertisers to parse through all of that. So I'm looking forward to the conversations becoming more grounded as we move forward.
Okay. What would you say are a couple of issues that are really preventing progress in the industry right now?
I'm really glad you asked that. So two big buckets of issues are transparency and control. That's why 4 years ago, Omnicom launched something called the Council on Accountability and Standards in Advertising. And the idea was to set out a series of North Stars for sellers and also bring our clients in on the process to guide product development, because we believe, for example, that advertisers have a right to know where their media is delivered. We also believe they have a right to control before the fact where it will deliver in the future, right? And we also think that there should be third-party auditing and verification of how these ads delivery systems are functioning. And so this CASA initiative has scope across a variety of media channels, inclusive of CTV. And so that's a big area in the CTV space where we're pushing for improvements, because CTV does not yet have a fully transparent marketplace, either when it comes to advertisers being able to decision at the user and show level in real time as their buy is playing out. It's also not fully transparent in terms of delivery reporting after the fact. And so this is an area where we've been driving the streaming space, and CTV by extension, for the last few years. We've seen good progress, but there's still a ways to go.
Now, just looking ahead at the upfronts, which are around the corner, will this be the CTV upfront?
That's a very interesting question. The way that we've been approaching the upfront for a few years now, and I would say there's going to be continuity in our approach this year, is that it's a holistic TV upfront, right? Where we're not negotiating separately for linear and CTV. We're negotiating for holistic video. And the big challenge that we're laying out to our partners is for them to provide us with a holistic look at the marketplace so that we can design buys that maximize delivery efficiency and effectiveness for our clients across the swath of linear and CTV inventory. Because the reality is that a huge proportion of consumers are using both streaming and linear services, right? So if we were to take a siloed approach and say like, well, we just want to analyze the CTV portion in isolation, or if we did the same thing for linear, we'd be leaving value on the table for our clients.
Okay. Will this be the year of performance TV?
I guess performance is all in the eye of the beholder. Our perspective at OMD is that all media is performance media, and it's just a question of aligning the measurement with the media vehicle and making sure that we're looking at the right KPIs for a given buy.
How is AI changing the game?
AI is changing the game in some obvious and some non-obvious ways. So the obvious ways are a lot of what you've heard here at the NewFronts, right? Like increased creative personalization, collapsing the cost and friction around creating content for advertising, which has historically been a pain point for advertisers, right? And that's all great stuff. What I think is less well understood is how there's a new generation of AI buyer agents that are being deployed to the marketplace. And that might sound a little abstract, but if you've heard of an offering like Google's Performance Max, PMax, or Meta's Advantage Plus, these are examples of these AI agents that we can now deploy on behalf of advertisers to achieve their business objectives, often more efficiently than we were able to in the past. But the rub is, are these agents really working for advertisers, or are they working for the companies that built them and control them? And so that's an area where we're going to be bringing increasing scrutiny and insight for our clients in the future.